You know, whether it's the first thing you drink in the morning or something to wind down with at night, tea is just one of those drinks that connects the entire planet. But what if I told you the secret to a better, healthier, and way more flavorful cup of tea wasn't about the leaves themselves, but about an invisible world of helpers working in the soil? Okay, let's get into it.
So where's this secret hiding? Well, you're not going to find it in the tea bag. And it's not even on the plant. Nope, it's deep down in the soil, in this incredibly complex ecosystem that, honestly, we're just beginning to really understand. We are talking about the secret allies of the tea plant.
For farmers, and really for all of us who love tea, the goal is always the same, right? How do you grow the absolute best, highest quality tea? And not just for one season, but consistently, sustainably for years and years. And that has been a huge challenge.
So here's the dilemma. On one hand, we want to boost all the good stuff in tea, like flavonoids. Those are the compounds linked to all the health benefits. But on the other hand, the way we've been doing it, with tons of chemical fertilizers, well, it can totally backfire. Over time, it just wrecks the soil and kills off the very microscopic life that the plants desperately need to thrive.
So if dumping chemicals on the soil isn't the long-term answer, then what is? Well, the solution might just come from nature's own toolkit. We're talking about the plant microbiome. Let's meet these amazing invisible helpers.
Okay, so what is the plant microbiome? Honestly, the best way to think about it is as a team of microscopic bodyguards and personal chefs that live right on and around the plant's roots. This little community of bacteria and fungi works with the plant, protecting it and helping it grab nutrients from the soil. They are its hidden partners in health.
Now, in this study, scientists focused on a microbial dream team. First, you've got this protective fungus that acts like a bouncer for the plant. Then you have these beneficial bacteria. They're like little chefs, dicing up soil nutrients into a meal the plant can actually absorb. And finally, my favorite, the mycorrhizal fungi. These are the ultimate networkers. They create what's called a wood wide web that connects all the roots, letting plants talk to each other and even share resources. It's this combination of protection, nutrition, and connection that makes them so incredibly powerful.
Now, it's one thing to know that these microbes exist, but it's a whole other thing to prove that they can make a real, measurable difference. So researchers designed a pretty fascinating experiment to put this dream team to the test. They basically set up a 6-month showdown between 3 groups of tea seedlings. The first group, T1, that's our control, it was left totally on its own. The second group, T2, got a little bit of help from just one player, that bouncer fungus. But the third group, T5, it got the full superstar treatment, the super mix with the bouncer, the bacterial chefs, and the networking fungi, the whole shebang. The question was, just how much of a difference could this dream team really make?
And after 6 months, wow, you could literally see the difference. Just look at the plant on the far right, the one that got the full super mix. It looks so much healthier, so much more vibrant than the others. But as cool as this looks, the real story, the mind-blowing part, was what was going on inside the leaves.
All right, let's get to the hard numbers. This is where we separate the good from the great. And believe me, the results weren't just interesting, they were absolutely dramatic. First, they measured those healthy flavonoid compounds. The control group, it's sitting at about 18 milligrams. The group with just the one fungus got a little bump, up to 20, but the group with the full supermix, it just blew the others out of the water, skyrocketing to almost 28 milligrams per gram. To really put that in perspective, that is a whopping 55% increase in flavonoids. The plants that had the full microbial team were just dramatically healthier and more potent. That is a massive leap in quality, and it's all thanks to those hidden helpers. And it wasn't just the flavonoids. The same exact story played out with antioxidant activity. The control group was kind of hovering under 70%, but the supermix group soared to over 90%. The evidence was just crystal clear. A complete microbial team means healthier, more powerful tea, period. So, we know what happened, but the next big question is how? How did these tiny microbes cause such a massive change inside the tea leaves? Well, the answer is hidden in the plant's own genetic code. So I want you to think of the tea plant as having this super sophisticated factory inside of it that's just churning out flavonoids. This diagram you're seeing, that's basically the blueprint for the factory. It's this complex biochemical pathway. And the microbes, they didn't bring in new parts, they just helped the plant run its own machinery way, way better. And this right here is the absolute key. The microbes weren't just passively dropping off nutrients, they were actively communicating with the plants.
They were sending it chemical signals that basically told the plant's genes to wake up, switch on, and ramp up production in that flavonoid factory.
And here's the proof. When scientists actually looked at the plant's gene activity, they saw that these key factory switches were flipped on at much, much higher levels in the supermix group. The microbes were literally acting like factory foremen, signaling to the plant's genetic machinery to get to work and boost production.
So what does this all mean? I mean, beyond just getting a better cup of tea? This research is pointing toward a revolutionary shift in how we think about agriculture altogether.
This quote from the study really just sums it all up. Using these microbial teams could solve two huge problems at once. You protect plants from disease, and you naturally make them higher quality and more nutritious. It's all about working with nature, not against it.
What we're looking at here is a blueprint for a whole new kind of farming, one where we can make our crops better, naturally, where we can cut way back on chemical fertilizers, where we can actually rebuild our soil for the long term, and ultimately grow food that is both more resilient and packed with more nutrition.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating thought. If we can do this for tea, what's next? I mean, imagine applying this science to coffee, or to the grapes used for wine, or to fruits and vegetables. What other foods could we fundamentally improve, not from the top down with additives, but from the ground up, just by reintroducing their hidden helpers?